your day. We want to hear from everyone. Don't panic. The main thing is, as I told you, when I told Prof. Auma we are doing those presentations and giving people feedback, she told me, how about you twist it a little bit and let members, because she felt that, because she's been teaching research for a while, supervising, the two questions that most people are not very clear about, that makes them struggle a lot in their research, is one, what is your research problem? What issue are you researching about? Clarity on that is very important. And the other aspect is why? Why is this an issue of interest? And she felt that if people are able to articulate that, then, because once that is clear, then you will know how to study the problem. That is your methodology. You will know what literature to consult. And so today, I just want to give you a few minutes. We will go around. I saw us do a similar activity actually this week with another group. And so I was like, wow, the world is in alignment. Just give you 5 minutes. We will do, each person will be given 3 minutes, not more than 3 minutes, to say, what is your research problem? What research issue are you addressing? And why is it a problem worth attention? Okay, why is it a problem that is worth your attention? So I would ask you to start preparing so that when Prof. Auma joins, then she will listen in. We will both listen in, and then we will then give feedback as we go on. So as I said, clarity in that is very critical. And if you don't have a research study right now, maybe you're not in school, it's okay. But if you're doing your master's, your PhD, or you're in between thinking about your proposal, use this opportunity to get that clarity. One of the things that has made me a better researcher, and it's Prof. Auma who taught me, is that don't keep your research a secret. Always speak about it, because the more you speak about it, the clearer it gets for you. And because sometimes when you tell people about it, they're like, oh, I don't still understand what you're saying. When they say that, or maybe they say, I still don't get what you're studying, why is this important? Then you are able to improve. So your 5 minutes begin now. Start writing down. Then each person will have 3 minutes to just present. What is your research problem? Why is it an issue worth discussing? So don't leave, stay on. Of course, it's also voluntary, but I really encourage everyone. Even I will do my own presentation today of what I'm studying for my second master's. So we are in it together. Okay, so let's start now. Start writing. What is the research issue? What is that is you feel is misaligned, that you want to understand, or it may not even be misaligned. It warrants more interrogation. And why is it so important? Why is it a problem that you feel needs to be addressed through your research? And it starts now. Are we clear? Are there any questions? Any questions? Can I see even a thumbs up? Okay, thank you, Joseph. And as I said, after this session, we are going to take registration of people who are doing their PhD, who want to join a scholarly writing course next year. It will be free. So with Prof. Auma and Dr. Eliza, so you will register that once we are done. But we want committed people. Now we start.
Aurelia, yes, a question. Must we present? Hi, this is Lucy.
Yes.
Must we show a presentation, or we can just read?
No,
Because
you will talk. You will just talk. No
oh,
presentation.
just talk.
Please don't do a
Okay.
presentation. Yeah, you
Okay.
will just talk. So we will just go
Okay.
around. What is my
Okay.
research problem is na 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 na.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's the problem, and this is why it's a problem that I'm interested in understanding. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now clear.
Let me let me let me even put the Nini up so that people who are coming can know. Carissa, when Prof James, you let her in, please. Carissa, you're there? Welcome, Prof. Prof. Auma is here. Karibu sana. You can say hello if you are able to. If not, don't worry. We are taking 5 minutes to finish working on what is our research problem and why. Then the presentations will begin. So I think we are on our 4th minute. So then we stop in a minute or two.
Okay.
Yes, but you can say hello and introduce yourself. Yes.
Why don't you let them finish first?
Okay.
Right?
Yes, yes. We will come. You will
In
introduce
the
yourself
4th
and
minute, right?
Yes, yes. Oh,
Mm.
Ĩrĩ ndĩraihu ndĩkae gũkorwo ĩrĩ kĩrĩa kwoguo ngĩkorwo ĩrĩ kwoguo nyuaga maguta
Matrix, you're telling us your secrets. Please mute. 1 minute, then we finish. Stop now, let's start. First, let me introduce Prof. Auma because she has asked me to do that on her behalf. Because I told you she's on transit. So, but she's here with us. So let me just introduce her and then we can begin our presentations. Please don't feel shy about it. Just be bold. All of us will speak. I told you, including me, I will speak about my research. And the more you speak, even right now as you are writing, I'm sure you've gotten a bit more clarity of your research. You've been able to articulate something maybe you were struggling with. So every opportunity to speak about your research, please grab it so that it gets clearer and also you get feedback.
Okay.
So let me introduce Prof. Auma Okwani a bit more formally, as it's so she's an associate professor of social policy at the International Institute of Social Studies of Erasmus University Rotterdam. Her scholarship centers on the relationship between policy, practice, and theory for children, youth, and their families in the context of risk and marginalization. Her research and teaching revolve around the theme of education, including care and development in the early years, child vulnerability, and child-sensitive social protection, including adolescent sexuality, reproductive health, with a specific focus on Eastern Africa. Her scholarship is about building privileges research that is attentive to epistemic diversity, highlighting the need to foreground situated accounts, which are often marginalized by the dominant narrative. I'm sure you've heard us many times talk about there's always that dominant narrative. And then in this endeavor of pursuing epistemic justice, she has built alliances with scholars in the region, which is Africa, in nurturing and mentoring emerging researchers on Afrocentric situated approaches. And that's why she's here, because of the mentoring commitment. So her current research output, she's published widely in early childhood. For example, Early Childhood and Care Education on the Margins, a very good book by Routledge, an edited volume. She's also done Social Protection for Vulnerable Children and Youth in Africa. She's doing her ongoing research on young motherhood in Kenya and Uganda, and an edited volume on sexuality, reproductive health and rights in Uganda. She's a co-editor of Routledge, ISS, and ISS EUR, Gender and Sexuality book series. You can see how she is invested in her area of interest, but also in the scholarship, in building knowledge within those areas. Using this scholarship to improve, so she is aiming to improve policy and practice. She has won very big grants and coordinated very big grants in the continent, and especially in East Africa. She's been a lead researcher for Oak Foundation on adolescence, also for a very good project called Strengthening Education and Training Capacity in Sexuality, Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights, set SRHR in Uganda. So, karibu sana, Prof. I know this is just a summary what you have done. You supervises PhD students and also master students. So we are in great hands. And I think even from her profile, we can learn also how to think about ourselves from a scholarly perspective. So I'll also share her link, then you can read a bit more. Karibu sana, Prof.
Thanks. Thank you, Aurelia. But you forgot to mention that you are one of my supervisees.
Yeah, oh, I have rubbed that in so many times.
Well, yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
If you hear a bit of noise, it's because I'm on the move. But yes, glad to join you. And I just want to join to add to what Aurelia said about your research. Like you should not don't be scared to it's almost like research is like learning a language. Those who do well are the ones who talk about it all the time. You talk about your research. You the whole idea around research is, you hear about peer review. So it can only be peer reviewed if somebody reads it. And so it's a constant conversations with other authors when you're doing literature review, conversations with peers when they're reading your work. So the more you do that, the more you strengthen your writing. But I'm pleased to be with you this morning. Whatever I can contribute to your conversations, that will be good. And I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say about the research you're doing, or the ideas you have, whatever they may be. The more you talk about it, then we can collectively try to figure it out. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. So let's begin. I will not appoint anyone. I will just ask you to just go for it. You only have 3 minutes, so don't take more than that, because then we will not have time for everyone. And I'll also invite you to listen to, I had shared it in the club, the 3-minute thesis, that it is actually possible to even talk about your research in 3 minutes. So don't worry, just give what you've managed. I think for context, it would be nice, say your name. Is it a PhD? Is it a master's thesis you're doing? And then you discuss what we have agreed. What is the issue? What is the issue you're working on? And why is it a problem? Why is it an issue worth the time that you're putting in to be able to, for this particular research? Why is it important? Okay, who is starting? Don't be shy. We will all speak. Go for it. And yes, that's a vote.
Can I? Oh,
Okay, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So my name is Anne Moshiri. I'm happy to be here. I'm a PhD student. I'm taking a PhD in information technology and science. So basically my research, I'd like to look at technology engagement with senior citizens. We find that senior citizens do not adopt technology the way they, in the same level as their younger counterparts. And you find that there is quite a lot of digitalization going on. Case in point, here in Kenya, there is a lot of digitalization. E-government is going digital, e-healthcare is going digital. But the challenge is that senior citizens are not using it. Number one, because of fear of technology. Number two, because of digital literacy issues. And also number three, there is quite a lot of stereotypes in terms of them being assumed that they should not engage with technology. So basically my research is to ask the question, how is it that we can adapt technology to, number one, be able to motivate them to be able to use it in a comfortable manner, and also to be able to enhance their digital literacy skills, so that as they are navigating through the different platforms that are available, then they can be able to navigate in a more comfortable manner. And largely, I'm looking at focusing on e-government and also e-health platforms. Why? Because these would be the most relevant to them, especially in terms of monitoring their health, and also in terms of e-government, in terms of making the applications that they want to make when they want to seek digital government services. So that is what I want to be the context of my study. And the senior citizens that I want to start with is especially those ones in low income, the low income areas, because you find that the low income adults, most of them in terms of education levels, they are also a little bit lower. So I'm hoping to, if I focus on those particular senior citizens, then I can be able to, number one, come up with a framework that builds on the context, come up with a framework that comes up with a context sensitive platform, and also enhances their digital literacy skills. So that is the area that I'm trying to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne, for that. We appreciate. We can give an emoji. Let's thank her. It's not easy to go fast. I have seen we have been joined by a great, a good friend, a good scholar, who has also been supervised by Prof. Uma. She's called Winnie Akeso. She's a great scholar. Welcome, Winnie. Happy to see you.
Happy to join you all, Aurelia. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks, Anne. As you said, government is digitalizing a lot, including the recent health insurance. And your question on how older people catching on, I think it's quite important. We'll give feedback after, but Prof. or Winnie, if you feel you want to give feedback before, feel free. If there's something burning that you want to share. Okay, next I saw Joseph.
So
okay, yeah.
Are you saying to give comment now or wait or later? Now.
If you feel there's something that someone should know now, maybe it's good to say it now. If not, it can wait. So yeah.
Yeah, let me just say first of all, Anne, thank you for that. The topic is interesting. I mean, the thing is, it's based on this quick, and thank you for the very concise presentation. I mean, you've summed it up very clearly. So thank you for that. But I just wondered, when you say senior citizen, who are you talking about? Just to so we know who are you referring to as senior citizen, and what how are you demarcating who is a senior citizen?
Yes, according to the UN definition, senior citizens are adults aged 60 and above. But I'm also trying to see in my study, I'm also trying to see whether the different age brackets would have different levels of engagement and awareness, because you find that the ones who are between 60 to 70, they'd be a bit more engaged with technology. But as one progresses with age, you find that there are other age-related complications that may arise in terms of dexterity issues. They may become more complex in terms of visual challenges. They may advance. So you may find that, again, even with the different age brackets, then technology engagement may be different for these different populations.
Okay. Yeah,
but
I mean, so that
senior citizen is anyone 60 and above.
Okay. Aurelia, what level of engagement are we doing? Is it to continue or to tell her later, or what do you think?
Because
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on.
I'm feeling because we are many and a number want to present, we can maybe have like 5 people present, then I
Then
don't know
have a
for you,
conversation.
then have a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe 5 a conversation. Then we
Okay.
move. I know you can't take notes. I'm taking some notes, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a great mind. You remember quite a bit. So let's
Yeah.
see who's
Okay.
coming now. Yes,
Okay.
that's okay. Right? Okay.
Okay, proceed. Then let's have 5, and then we
Yes.
can. Yeah. So let the
Okay.
yeah.
Jose, please go for it.
Thank you. My name is Josephat. I'm preparing a PhD concept in nursing. So my problem is looking at the outcome of mechanical ventilation. For in ideal situation, mechanical ventilation has been taken as a treatment modality to support critically ill patients, to support their respiratory system. In critical care unit, usually have qualified critical care nurses who have been trained, so their skills matches the needs of the patients who are critically ill. So the expectation here is by matching the patient characteristics and also the competence of the nurses, we should have positive outcome at the end of the treatment duration. However, this treatment modality, which is mechanical ventilation, has been associated with we are success in winning or liberation of the patient from this treatment modality, and also winning failure, which has become a major problem, leading to ventilator dependence or even prolonged mechanical ventilation. Nurses being competent to provide this kind of care, its outcome or its effect has not been shown because of the outcome we are seeing from the patient who have been on mechanical ventilation. Several studies have been done on what may be leading to this winning failure for these patients, and they have majorly focused on the patient characteristics. The consequence of this winning failure on our healthcare system has been increased usage of bed occupancy. There is workload that is increased. The cost of care has also increased, and also mortality as a result of complications from the treatment modality. So my aim of to do this kind of study is to look at the moderating effect of the nurse competency on this mechanical ventilation outcome. Thank you, Aurelia. That's what I'm looking at. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Josephat. I think even if we are non-medical, we have gotten some understanding of what he's talking about. So thank you for that. Lucy?
Okay, good morning. And thank you, Aurelia, for this opportunity. So my name is Lucy Wahome. I'm currently pursuing my PhD at Daystar in development studies. This is a study that I am hoping to publish. It's just a paper I'm hoping to publish. It is not yet my thesis. I'm still thinking on what I will do for my thesis. And so it is an ongoing study, which I hope to explore the possibility of adopting a podcast as a learning tool for doctoral students in Kenya. This was mainly, this is a challenge that I am facing and most of my colleagues, I believe, are facing. Because it is documented that only 11% of PhD students complete their studies in the stipulated 3 years' time. And the major problem is access to resources that are tailor-made for their research, and time. Time is also a constraint because most of these classes are scheduled within a time period. And so with the juggle of life that majority of us are facing at that time, learning within that time becomes a challenge. And so I want to, on podcast, I have read a number of research papers. Majority of students outside Kenya. It's a concept that has been adopted and by some universities, and I wanted just to find out the possibility of adopting the tool and integrating it to our learning journey so that we can enhance accessibility to knowledge and also the time constraint issue. And so with that, I hope it will increase the probability or the population that will get to finish the education on time, maybe because they can access the classes on time. Basically, that is the nutshell. Yeah.
Thank you, Lucy, for sharing what you're thinking about in terms of enhancing learning for higher education for PhD. Yes, we need 2 more people before we go to the round of
Aurelia, just a quick question there.
Yes, Alma.
For Lucy, a quick question. What you just summarized what she the title. Do you have a title? Is it enhancing?
Yeah.
What did you say again?
The title
Exploring.
is Exploring the possibility of adopting podcast as a learning tool for doctoral PhD students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So next we will have Fatma, then finish with Kefa. Then we have a round of reflection and comment. Go Fatma, then Kefa.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you so much for organizing this, Aurelia. My name is Fatma. I am a PhD student at the University of Nairobi, and my area of specialization is communication. My study, which is still in concept, is on the representation of agriculture in agribusiness. And the problem is that agribusiness has been packaged in a way that is supposed to endear to the youth, supposed to be endearing for the youth, since the young people have increasingly a problem in terms of livelihood. And research has also identified the young people are active users of social media. So in many of the programs within agribusiness trainings, communication has been provided as a magic bullet, in a sense that it can be used to ensure that agribusiness is used, is the promotion of agribusiness among the young people. However, there is no study that has been done to show the empirical connection between social media and agribusiness. So the purpose of this study, therefore, is to explore the use of social media to promote agribusiness, especially among the youth in Kenya. So I intend to use both qualitative and quantitative research methods to ensure that it's not just the numbers, but also to get the reasons behind. And that's a snippet of what it is that I want to do. Back to you.
Thank you, Fatma, for sharing that social media and agribusiness exploration. We want to add to empirical data on that area. Thank you for that.
A quick question to Fatma. She says that there is no study that has been done where? Well, no study that has been done on the issue at all, or no study that has been done in a particular context? It wasn't clear. Could you clarify?
Yes, thank you so much, Prof. The studies that have been done are not specific to young people in Kenya. So mostly you'd find that it's just in other contexts where specifically there is a connection. But in Kenya, I haven't come across any study that looks at this issue, how young people are using social media within agriculture.
But you've seen studies looking at that issue in other contexts.
In other contexts, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Prof. Then finally, Kefa. Then we get reflections.
So good morning. My name is Kefa Bryan. Thank you so much, Aurelia, as usual, for setting up this platform, and also Professor for taking your busy time to just come and listen. I'm a student of University of Nairobi, a master's student pursuing international relations, and I'm actually coming closer to doing my dissertation. And the topic that I came up with, which I'm still working on, is the role of Foreign Affairs Ministry, the role of Foreign Affairs Ministry in the dispensation of Kenya's foreign policy. So here, I know it's kind of not like what is the problem per se, but mine now it's like a historical analysis of this ministry, which we do know that is part of the driving force of the presidency in executing matters of foreign relation. So mine is we do know that Kenya is in the process, because if you look even from the literature review, the only first document that you can get is the 2014 by Amina Mohamed, the ambassador, Her Excellency by then, and it tried to outline the foreign policy of Kenya and the pillars that it has. Of course, scholars will still argue out that we did have papers on foreign policy, but we can trace it from the 1965 sessional paper number 10, which of course we do know that it was written under economical background, but of course with hidden foreign policy, so it was not clear. But also my other driving mirror is most of Kenyans do not know what is happening outside, but they are very, very active in the internal dynamic, which we do know that the next generation, which we have termed them as Gen Z, maybe after clearing the internal problems, now they'll be focusing as well on the external, so that we don't have a situation that at the foreign policy, the presidency has a blank check of doing whatever they wish. So here it's about trying to enlighten the masses on matters foreign policy through this good ministry of ours. So it's just a paper in the making, and I'll be guided. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kefa. Speaking of a very pertinent issue right now in the country and globally. So I think now we are time for reflection. Prof, I'll give it to you. Share your insights, any reflections you think we should think about more. Over to you.
Yes, Aurelia, it's a bit of an awkward moment. I just arrived, so if you give me some few minutes to
unpack your
no to move somewhere and sit and move away from the vehicle.
Okay, no worries.
So
Thank you.
So but I'll still be listening. So perhaps you can continue, and Winnie, if you have something, and Aurelia, and peers, of course.
Yes. So maybe we can have peers, anyone, including Winnie, anyone in the group who wants to give a comment before Prof comes in with her, and for the people who have presented. Anything that you want to even congratulate them, just any insights they should think about. Maybe it's a topic you've also interacted with. You can point them towards a resource. So it's open now for feedback. Yes, Lydia.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for this particular forum. I want to congratulate the participants for being open in their thought process. And as you are open, you are able to gather information, and information is power. I think there was one I didn't quite get, the one who was doing on ventilation, mechanical ventilation of patients. What was the name of the gentleman? Jospat, yeah. I just wanted to quickly reflect on his title, and he was focusing on the nurse competencies as a measure for patient outcome in ventilation. And I was wondering whether he is concerned with patient characteristics, which can very much affect the outcome of ventilation. Then the support for Lucy's support for PhD graduation within given time. And there is the resources, the podcast and resources, but also the policy, which seems to in implementation, it seems to want PhD students to stay on for at least 6 years. That's my perception. In Fatma's topic, in youth and agribusiness, I cannot help but go back to values and beliefs that are taught in the school curriculum and affect youth adaptation to agribusiness. In Kefa's topic on the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, coming from education background, I'm also concerned whether he will be interested to know the school curriculum in informing the upcoming generation about their socio-political environment, so that when they grow up, then they are able to participate more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lydia Daktari, for that. And I'm sure those whose researches have been mentioned, you've gotten something to think about, an angle for your research, something to explore. Yes, so anyone else has some feedback? Yes, Alex? You want to share feedback?
Aurelia?
Yes, we need.
Just to probably have a conversation around a few things. First of all, thank you so much for bringing this together, and thank you everyone who has already shared. It's not always easy to share your ideas. Speaking to you from Kampala. I want to start with just seeking clarity, especially from Lydia right now in the conversation, that when you do talk about, and this is from your feedback to Kefa, you do talk about the school curriculum informing young people about the, I think you mentioned the political environment. Could you please clarify that? I mean, I'm from a different context and I'm trying to make sense of how this could contribute to Kefa's topic. Could you say a bit more about that, just so it's clear what you meant?
Okay, thanks, Winnie. My thought line is Kefa is concerned about public participation in international relations, and sees the role of, unless I didn't quite understand the topic, and seeing the role of the Ministry of Affairs as one of them that will incorporate public participation so that they are aware of the government's decisions and participation as their representative in international relations. And so I thought having a subject that teaches people in the school curriculum about their own environment, their own governance systems and policies would prepare the learners and students eventually in participating in international politics, international relations when time comes. That was my thought line. Unless I didn't understand, maybe Kefa can clarify, unless I didn't understand the topic clearly.
Yeah, so if I get you right, you are proposing that what he does could be something that contributes to the curriculum, or is this topic already existing? And in that sense, would you love him to reflect on it, or to probably critique what is existing in that curriculum?
I think before we digress, I would like to hear Kefa's talk.
Kefa, could you speak a bit more to just clarify which direction you're taking with your topic? Because how I got it is that he wants to look into the role of Foreign Affairs Ministry in dispensing, is it policies or something? Kefa, could you just say something a bit more just to clarify which direction you're taking with your topic?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I love, because it's actually the same with Daktari. As well, Daktari, thank you also for mentioning. So yes, mine was, Daktari has pinned it down by saying that for it to work, her input, which I think that one would be under my conclusion for solving, is also we need to inculcate this knowledge in their academic curriculum so that they know it from downstairs coming up, so that when something happens in Kenya is getting into agreement to any foreign entity, the citizens are aware. They're not caught off guard that, yeah, Kenya signed an agreement with the Chinese government on this bill. There's matters of international law. We have not checked on that. So of course, from my end, as I was saying, the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that is the link between the people and the government, or here per se, to be straightforward, is the presidency, because the presidency actually is the center power, or the executive, if you wish, of foreign affairs. And that's why I was saying most of Kenyans are only aware of what is happening within the boundaries. That I think this one is across the continent of Africa. They're just aware of what is happening within their state, but whatever is happening outside, it's only the elite that know. So you'll find they will sign off these diplomatic missions, but they don't know what is happening until things blow up. That's when now we start, oh, okay. And I think Daktari has also educated me well by saying maybe in my conclusion, when I'm writing my paper, I'll suggest that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should also get in touch with the Ministry of Education so that the children get to know it, even if they'll not come and study foreign policy or international, even law, but they're aware. So even someone is doing engineering, from high school, they did something on matters foreign policy in civics. So thank you.
Okay, so that's interesting. So if I get it, then this is more of the potential that your topic could actually indeed have, in the sense of contributing to, and if I get Lydia now, just trying to make the linkage that the potential that your topic has is in terms of something that could even be incorporated within the school curriculum, because when you say this is something you can recommend at the end of your research, that's the kind of linkage I'm trying to make. So this is something that's not existing, but the potential that your topic presents is that it could contribute to having these conversations within the curriculum. Lydia, did I get the link now right?
I think so. All we are saying is, like Kefa has put it, when there is an issue about foreign agreements, the populace are led by politicians to act and react instead of being proactive. And I thought his study would recommend a proactive action of civic education within the school education so that individuals grow with that awareness of around themselves and then outside the borders and internationally. Yes.
Okay, so I see. So it's a good potential indeed. It is, and when you look at, and this is me looking at it from an outsider perspective, when we do observe, especially what the Gen Z were able to do and the millennials, especially with the protests within the country, I think the role of young people in these critical conversations are important. So Kefa, it's probably I know before we even get to the point of making recommendations, you sort of would have to shape it really well to lead us to that process. And because you said you were still probably writing, getting to the dissertation point, So it is relevant in that sense. So it's important that you look into it and see how you can shape your topic in that that direction. So for me, it's just to say and encourage that it's an interesting area, and especially because you want to include a youth voice in the process of especially their civic participation. So I think it's a very interesting one in that sense, and hopefully just wish you well, because there's, as you can see, there's already a potential for it in many different ways. That's what I would say, and just encourage you to probably, like I said, it's important to shape it really well, because if we are looking at the potential at the end of it, then there's something in there. I just wanted to also say and engage with Lucy. I think Lucy was looking at exploring the issue of podcasts. Lucy, are you and this, because you talk about 11% completion rate for PhD students, and are you proposing podcasts as is, first of all, is this the only reason as to why? Are there any other reasons that you've explored? What else do you know? What other reasons have you explored that are causing low completion rates among PhD people? And why would you recommend, particularly why you're looking at podcasts? Because then how you present it seems to be as though if you indeed suggest the issue of podcasts, then it might be able to increase the completion rates. Could you speak to some other challenges that you might know already, but also why podcasts? Why is this important? Why do you think this is something that would hopefully increase the completion rate?
Yeah, thank you for that. One other reason that I have come across is the student ratio to lecturer ratio, as there are very few lecturers of supporting PhD students, especially when they start their research process. And the reason I am not really advocating finding out if podcast can be a channel is because the way we have embraced technology. With technology, we can now get support from lecturers from all over the countries. We've gotten to attend and be trained for different aspects of research, even areas organized for us, with lecturers who are not even part of the country. But I also acknowledge, as a student, for me, this was coming from a personal journey. A lot of things I have not benefited from. Yes, Zoom and these other online resources exist, but I find podcast an easier method of interaction, because it is easily available for me to access at any time and consume it at my own pleasure, rather than a schedule learning exercise that might not fit to my schedule. So the desire I do have for me to attend might not be conciling well with the other activities that I have in my personal journey. That's why I really wanted to go and explore if there is a potential for this type of learning tool. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite very interesting. And do
Prof
you know?
ready? We maybe Prof is ready. You can give maybe a summary.
Okay.
Not, you can just say what Lucy should look at. Then Prof can give her feedback before she checks in.
Okay. Or perhaps we could let her do that already, because I know it's also quite.
Okay.
We need, yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. So and excuse the noise in the background. I tried to go to the least noisy place, but there doesn't seem to be. Yeah, and if I wait until I'm the other side, then it's going to take too long. So I think, Aurelia, I mean, I know this is your last meeting for this year, but clearly we should have. I mean, it would be good. Let me put it this way: it would be good to have conversation, a much more substantive conversation, probably in the new year, and pick up on some of these issues. I wanted to say something kind of cross-cutting with all of you, and that is that, and of course, this is a bit unfair because it is based on what you've just presented. So one has not necessarily read what you've done to look at the kind of, how you actually phrased your problem. But what I like about almost all the presentations is that people are very clear and very practical, coming at it from a very practical space and looking at what is working or not working and so on. But what would be more, what I feel should come out more clearly that I can speak to, that cuts across, is perhaps like if somebody is just listening to you, what you're saying in terms of this is my problem, who says that is a problem? So your answer could be, it's a problem because I'm a PhD student and I know this all, that I've seen the statistics. For example, 11% only, but then going beyond that to really enter a conversation or conversations around that topic so that we know what you're saying. So for instance, Fatma is looking at social media to promote agribusiness. Studies have looked at this issue. I mean, it would be nice for everyone to go beyond the practical and sort of locate yourself within the literature, locate yourself within conversations around your topic. What conversations are happening around your topic? What conversation are you entering? Because if you do it, and Aurelia, like I said, if in a subsequent session, if we talk about some of these issues in terms of, what do I mean when I'm saying talking, entering a conversation, I think that would strengthen a lot. All your topics are very, very interesting, but now you need to locate yourself within the literature, situate yourself within particular conversations so that you can say, Fatma, you can put it a bit more and say, you have not found any study in Kenya. Maybe there is no study, but so far you haven't found a study. You cannot say that definitively until perhaps, and I'm not saying you haven't searched, but we don't know. Maybe it's there's an unpublished paper, maybe there's somebody, well, there could be many reasons. But there are studies that have been done in context similar to Kenya. So your conversation cannot be a study. There's no study that has been done, therefore I want to do this. But what's informing you? So clearly you've looked at other literature. So you should say, researchers who've looked at this topic have, and you look at similar contexts, have said this, or they've looked at it in this way. Others have said that. Others have looked at it in this way. And therefore I am coming at it in this way. And in this context where there's a dearth of studies, or so far at least you haven't found a study. So I would like to hear people kind of locate themselves a bit more in the conversations around your topic. So that, because that's what academic writing really is about. It's about engaging in a conversation. And so that would make it stronger if you were, so it would be these same topics, you would enrich or make your topic more robust if you could say, and again, you could still say that in 3 minutes or the same amount of time, because all of you, to be honest, really were very clear and presented very well. But it would be nice to hear a bit more the kind of engagement you're having, what is informing the kinds of questions that you're asking. And then, yeah. Did someone say something? Oh, I thought somebody said something.
No,
So that's my one key point, was that there's something that I saw that was cross-cutting. When you say there's Lucy talked about the possibility of adopting podcasts as a learning tool for PhD students. Winnie raised a question, and it's the same thing. So if you had literature, again, if you engage it, and I'm not saying you haven't done it, you probably have. I'm basing this just on what you said. But you come at it by saying, and that will answer that question that she asked you. Like, so the completion rate is very low, but what's causing this? And why do you think? Because you have to say what the causes are. What have different researchers found is the cause of low, and how do, and why then do you think, people who've looked at podcast as a possible tool, what do they say? So that you can tell us then that you are having conversations with these scholars to then help you to propose this as a tool. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. So I think locating yourself within literature. I often say to students, if somebody sends me a paper to read, I say, and Aurelia will tell you that, and Winnie was also my supervisor, as Aurelia pointed out. I often say to people, if you give me a paper to read, I don't start reading your paper. I look at your references. Who are you having conversations with? Who are you talking to about this? So that your topic doesn't sound anecdotal. It doesn't sound, when you say that Anne says that when you talk about digital illiteracy or digital lack of digital skills, what's that based on? Is it based on assumptions that people make to say that younger people are more tech savvy and older people are uncomfortable? Or is there actual evidence that informs us, that tells us this? And to tell you that actually sometimes literature will say one thing and your data can actually push back against literature. You can either confirm or find something that's consistent with what people are saying, but you can also refute what people are saying. You can also push back against that literature. So it's very important that you locate yourself within that. And even in a 2-minute presentation, it can become very clear. Who are you reading? Who's informing what you're saying? Who says that is a problem? Where did that come from? And so that the more you keep doing this, you begin to engage in a way where you're making it clear that you are, you have to work with these scholars to help you make your point. And so I think, Aurelia, this is something to think about. How do we do this so that our conversations become enriched with the people who's sitting at our dinner table? I like to use that expression of, reviewing, the scholars you engage with are like people sitting at your dinner table. And I'm sure most of you will think, why is she only talking about literature review? Because honestly, academic writing is about that. There's a textbook that is used a lot for undergraduates in academic writing, but it's an interesting one to read. I recommend it also to students that we teach. Ours is a postgraduate institute. And the title of that book is They Say, I Say. And it's talking about the art of academic writing. Why is it they say, I say? Because academic writing is about what other scholars have said about the topic. And then therefore, what are you saying? And so you're going to use your data, you're going to use what others have said, and then your own voice, and you're going to weave these things together to structure your argument. And that's why I'm going on and on about the literature. And so I want, as you move on, that people come to talking about who says that that is a problem, and what other people who have done this similar research, what have they said about it? And therefore, how are you drawing on what they've said to help you state what it is that you're doing? So I think for me, this is one thing that really jumped out, and that it's a good place to start for people to really think and reflect about their topics from that perspective of really walking with literature. Somebody mentioned something about you want to make a recommendation, and it's that the problem is that I was walking, so I had some things and I was missing on some. Was that a PhD research? Is that a PhD research that someone is doing?
It's a master's.
Oh, it's a master's, but it's still a postgraduate study, because in our university, and what we've always said to students, not just in our university, is that actually academic writing, when you do research, academic research, it's different from policy research, where you might be looking at why is this policy working, why is it not working, who's being left out, therefore, what recommendations are you making? Academic research, you don't necessarily, you're not necessarily going to make recommendations. And I know that when you use a template, many people make recommendations, but you actually are just going to highlight implications of your study. And the emphasis shouldn't be, I don't think it's very good to start with a recommendation in mind, but to start with a puzzle. What is the puzzle? What's the issue? And why is it an issue? And who says it is an issue? And that's why asking this question, what is your problem? Why is it a problem? Not how you will do it, but at this moment, just saying, what is the issue? Why is it an issue? And I always say to students, if you know the what and why, because research is what, why, and how. If you know the what and why, the how is very easy. So structuring the what and why is very important. So I think when I hear someone say, you want this study to be able to recommend, it almost feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like you know what you want the research to say, rather than you find something puzzling and you want to investigate or explore or examine, so that you can find out. You don't know what you'll find out, but your data and the engagement you do with that data will lead you to the recommendation, to the implications of your study. So, it's not, these are some issues that we can then unpack and explore in more detail. But I wanted to give very, very general comment like that. But the topics are very interesting. I would really like to have longer conversations with people, or one-on-one conversations with people. But I think I want to leave it at that very broad space. Aurelia.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much. And Winnie, I think you've really given very critical feedback. Perhaps even those who have presented today, there can be an opportunity to do it again, now coming from the strength of the literature. Okay, as Prof has said, coming from that standpoint, beyond just looking at the practical issue, which is okay, but then looking now from it, describing it, I don't even want to dilute what Prof has said, but basing it really on the literature that you have been engaging with, and then telling us your what and why. So I think that is something we can do. I know we do not have a lot of time, but don't worry. I think this is the direction we'll be taking in the club, because as you noticed, we reduced doing a lot of webinars. Why? Because sometimes webinars become just passive activities where people just get knowledge, which is okay, but then you don't understand afterwards how are people using this knowledge to improve their paper. So next year, the approach will be, in as much as we'll have a few webinars here and there to enhance learning, we also want the engagement. Like now, when we speak like that, the way we are doing, when you get feedback, it becomes clearer. So next year, we will do a lot more of these activities so that we are translating from the learning to from what we are learning to what we are actually doing. And so today we might end there, but we still have 7 minutes. I just want to open it up for anyone with questions. I'm also going to put a link on the chat for people who are interested. As I said, we want to have a scholarly writing course, a short course, maybe 3-week course, intense, only for those committed working on their PhD. And I'm prioritizing the people who came today. I will not post it in the club because those who came today have shown some bit more commitment. Of course, maybe someone wanted to be here, but they're not. But I'll first prioritize you here. If you want to join this writing course to continue this discussion and you're doing your PhD, please register your name. Then at least with that information, I'll be able to now inform you when the course starts. And then we will be journeying together with Prof. Prof will be there. And so even Winnie will be there, I'll be there. Also, Dr. Eliza will be there. So there will be a team to take this conversation further. Okay? But so let me post that on chat. As I do that, please ask a question. Please mention something. Ask a question so that we can answer you in the next 6 minutes. Even the group can answer you. Anyone with a question? It can be anything about your research. On chat. Okay,
yes, yes.
Pamela. Oh, Pamela. Pamela, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me to take this responsibility of joining late. In fact, I told my children yesterday to remind me they forgot. So I've joined very late, and I want to appreciate your initiative and also what I've just heard from Professor. In fact, I'm so much impressed because I'm a PhD student. I'm almost finishing my coursework next semester. And already I've started identifying the topics. There's one topic which I've already come out with, even the problem. I've gone up to chapter concept I've done. I've gone even chapter 3 because it is a mixed method. But I wanted someone, how I wish I could have joined earlier, I could have shared so that at least you could have helped me to see whether it is okay. But again, I'm happy, and I'll be so much happy if I can get assistance so that immediately I finish coursework, I register straight away for my proposal writing. So it is, unfortunately, it is late. I cannot share it right now. But if someone can just accept if I can share with, so that you can go through what I've written, even the concept, and then we can panel beat it. I'll be ready to join the training, but I'll see the schedule because our classes is always from 5:30 to 8:30 from Monday to Thursday. So I'll be able to join. I'll see how the schedule will be, but I want to join writing, that one, so that at least I get much mentorship and knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Please register. Then we can agree on the time. Maybe let me add a question there on what time people are available. I know most people, so that then we can have that into consideration. But you didn't miss, we will still have more. Don't worry. Emmanuel?
Hi.
Emmanuel?
Hi. Thank you for allowing us to attend this. And I don't have much to say. I'm also taking on my PhD. What Prof said is very important, like how we choose our topics. research is more of an assumption. So even when we choose our topics, we should not. Hello? We should not look like as if we already know what's going to happen. So that has been a challenge, even for me, just picking the topic and thinking about the research. But the prof made it clear for me. So just thank you.
Thank you for that. I think what I will do, I will share with you the link of the 3-minute thesis, just to hear how people speak about their topics. I think there are a couple of, and they're drawing on literature. You know, they're drawing on, they have interrogated the literature, and now when they're speaking, they are using that to say, then, this is why I think this is a problem worth studying. So I'll share that because I think I also believe in learning through examples. Prof. Auma, I wanted to also share the ISF repository for PhD thesis, so that also people can see how to engage with literature. I don't know, would that be useful?
I mean, I think it might be useful to individual. I mean, even if there's a repository, yeah, maybe somebody could look at a topic that's relevant for them. But I think if someone points you to, for example, a study, it's usually much better if somebody would point you to, because there's a lot of pieces and not, some are very, very good and some are good. And, so there's different, you know what I'm saying? And so if it's just wide open, then it might also just be overwhelming for somebody to know now which one to read and so on,
Okay.
But yeah, but I think somebody can explore. They might find something that's their alley, so you want to just quickly scroll. I mean, part of what you do in an academic writing course is to talk to people about reading strategies. Doesn't mean you have to read everything. So you have to learn how to quickly scan and see whether you want to read more of it. But you can also ask. And again, not just giving people your research to read, but asking questions, what should I read? This is my topic. Might there be somebody who has done something in, similar, or might you know of a topic, so things of that nature. So yeah, I think the repository is a good idea, but I think people should be proactive about asking questions and asking for guidance, so that you're not overwhelmed because there is so much out there to read.
Thank you for that, Prof. Yes, I can see Maxi is saying, thank you for this session. She's not well versed with presenting and public speaking, but she feels she's in the right place. Certainly, Maxi, that's part of it. And here we've created a safe space where we are all in the learning journey. So some of us have also learned to speak through practice. So please put yourself out when we say, come and talk about your research so that you can get feedback and also you can improve on presentation. Suvi says some of us did not get that link, 3-minute guide. So I've shared a link on 3-minute presentation. This is just a guide. It's not standard, but this is actually what you should do. But just to hear from other people how they present their work, some of them drawing on literature, it can also help you have a way to also say, oh, okay, this is how I can also speak about my. So I've shared that with you. Phyllis, I'm trying to get back on the horse. Yes, please get back on that horse. We go riding. Thanks, Prof. Great presentation. I have completed coursework on med administration, working on starting my proposal. Good, Karu, start working on it. Read around your topic so that you can get that strong muscle and platform from which then you can start saying, okay, what then could be my research question in light of what I have seen the people who've gone previously, who've written before me, what they're writing, what then can be my question and contribution to that conversation. So go on your proposal. Please consider master's students. Kefa, for now, I think, Prof, the sessions will only be for PhD, but that does not mean we won't have this other engagement in the club. But I think for now, it's just for PhD students. the writing course. I'm sorry. Really grateful. Not just doing research, just writing articles, yes. And as Prof. Auma always taught us, I'm sure Winnie knows, you write as well as you read. It's very difficult to be a strong scholarly writer if you're also not reading, because then what will you base your writing on? Because we are always building on, adding our own voice to what has been said, building on what other people have said. So if you also want to improve your scholarly writing, you also have to grow your reading muscle as well. Winnie, do you have anything to say before we finish? Lucy, has her hand up.
Yes, Lucy's hand is up, but I could just say something quick.
Yes.
In response to probably what Kefa has written. I know in whichever space probably that you might find yourself in, Kefa, as much as it's not a space that is because you say you want to join, even it's just to observe, I would encourage you that regardless of whichever space it is, if you ever join a space, it shouldn't, I encourage you to speak, to have your voice heard, to have these conversations, because when you speak out and not just observe, and this also goes for the rest of us, sometimes, and I know some people say they are shy, but sometimes it's you could text, you could post on the chat. When you speak about the issues that you're writing about or the challenges that you face, you walk away a better person, able to improve yourself, improve your writing, you might learn a bit more. Otherwise, if you feel you will only observe, sometimes you limit yourself on your potential and ability to network and also learn. So I just encourage you to use your voice and not only observe. I just wanted to quickly mention that. Although I also like that you're trying to push yourself even in spaces that you feel could benefit you, and I think that's a good energy to have. So yeah, it's just to encourage people to speak out, and let's not feel that we can only observe, because that way you will be able to grow better. That's just what I wanted to quickly say.
Thank you.
Lucy's hand is raised.
Yes. Lucy, before you come, Carol, we are hearing your secret. Before Lucy comes, there's a question here we can be thinking about. She asked, is it important to come with a literature review map to get the research gap? Okay. So as Lucy is speaking.
Ask the question again. Is it important to what?
To come up with a literature review map to get the research gap.
A literature review map to get the research gap.
Yeah, it sounds like a poetic.
Yeah, it sounds very. It sounds very poetic. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure if I get the question properly, but I just want to really emphasize that, for example, I'm not of the school of thought of having a thesis. And I know, and I might be saying something against your department that you belong to or your university, but I'm not of the school of thought where you have a thesis and then you have a section called literature review. I have a problem with that because literature review is a cross-cutting thing across the thesis. When you start say to your problem, the very beginning of the thesis, you're reviewing literature. It's not a standalone, it's cross-cutting. So from problem statement to conceptual framework to methodology to analysis, and all the way to overall contribution. So you're constantly engaging with literature. So it's not a standalone section. The question about you talking about, I don't know what you mean by a literature map, but I think that maybe could you clarify? What do you mean by that? What's that? What do you mean by that, rather?
Anthony, are you there? Lucy, we haven't forgotten you. Don't get tired. Your hand is up. Anthony, do you want to clarify what a literature review map is?
A literature review map. No? Okay.
Sorry for that. Sorry, I was
Oh,
in quite a busy place. But
yeah.
on the issue of the literature review map, my thinking on the same, I was just thinking that so that you can come up with a clearer research gap. We have this coming up with this the logical flow of ideas, maybe in just a table, so that you can understand in this literature what are the basically the gap before you tackle now the main topic. We may come up with a topic, but it has already been done by others. So I was just thinking, is it important for you now to get that research gap to tackle the topic? Do you come up with a literature review map? Is it well guided, or you just come up with the statement of the problem and try to light literature on it?
And I think that's why, Aurelia, if you take note that's why it's good to actually have a session so that we talk about this, because the problem statement is not separate from literature review. As you review literature, you refine your statement. So maybe somebody else has done it, but maybe you can tweak it a little bit. Maybe they've done it it hasn't been done in a particular region. Maybe it hasn't been done on a particular segment of the population. Maybe so it helps you, the more you read around it, it helps you to, so that's why I'm saying you can't have it's not a separate thing, or it's not a template, but as you read, you keep refining. And it's a continuous ongoing thing. Literature review is very dynamic. It's not a static thing. It's not a static process where you can, almost like a formula, and then you enter and find this, but the gap is there, or you might discover it as you go along. It narrows, or it clarifies, or, so it's this very dynamic process, to be honest. And so as you read, it is through reading that you will narrow your topic. I've had students come and say, I've been told my topic is very broad. Can you help me narrow it? Nobody can help you narrow it. You can start reading. Somebody can help you, point you to places, to books or to articles or to areas where you should read. And as you read, you begin to narrow, you begin to find a space, you begin to find those gaps. And it's not always a gap. It could be that you found an interesting way of resolving something and you want to build on it. So it's not always that there's a gap. So there are maybe different things that you want to do. It's been done, this study has been done on, but nobody has looked at how it affects people with disabilities, or girls, or boys, or, so, the gap, it's something that happens even as you read. So I don't want you to think of it in a very static way where you say, if I fill in this, then I will find a gap. So I think if we do a session on, say, literature review, for example, how to do it and things of that nature, maybe that clarifies it a bit more. Aurelia.
Yeah, thank you for that, Prof. I think it will clarify. It's not very formulae like that. Yeah, I think practice will make it even clearer. So Anthony, if you're doing your PhD, you can register. If not, we will still do the same topics in our club, so you can also benefit from that. Lucy?
Thank you, Lyria. Mine is just to thank you. Thank you for the day. And for sure, I've learned a lot, especially to do a bit of build up to my literature, to add the conversation so that the conversations flow to bring out the idea clearly. But at the same time, I wanted to request, I've had a few PhD colleagues here. I have shared my tool here. I'm still in the process of collecting data. Maybe reshare so that they can share with their colleagues. Yeah. Because I've not yet achieved my sample size. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, but you defined your sample, right? It's not everyone, it's the PhD you have clearly defined who should answer it, right?
Yes, for the PhD students who are doing their PhD currently in Kenya. Yeah.
Okay, sawa. So
Thank
I
you.
think we will end there, and I've seen 12 people have already registered. That's a good number. Please do. We will not share, if we reach our 15, we won't share the link in the club. So please register if you're doing. Let me just share the link again. And just think about what Prof has said about literature review being cross-cutting, starting from the beginning to the end, because I think the danger we've seen then, if you think of literature as only in chapter 2, that's why when you talk about your research problem, you don't mention literature, because in your mind, you've compartmentalized it, that this is not the time to talk about it because there's a chapter addressing it. That's the danger of doing that. But now that we are going with the information that literature starts from the beginning, as you're thinking your topic about your topic, you're using literature to do all that. Now it means then at least we'll start thinking more about it, even as we speak about our problem, why our problem is important to study. So I think that's a major takeaway for me again, and I hope for you as well. Okay,
Aurelia,
Berlin?
can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I just
Please.
wanted to say something. I remember when Anne was presenting on the senior citizens, the way literature can also be can make you can trap you. You can be trapped by literature, depending on your sources, for example. So, for instance, your response, Anne, was that how you define senior citizen, you quoted the UN, according to the UN. And the question then I would ask you, but of course we would need to have a longer conversation. And I totally appreciate that it was a very short presentation. But do you accept that uncritically? That's what they've said. So do you accept that? Is it contextual? Does that make sense? And is the problem, and that's the thing I wanted to ask you, is the problem, could you perhaps be making some assumptions? Is it that, are you just going with older people are not very comfortable with technology, younger people are, but we live in a context where there's a lot of digital poverty, as they call it. And I appreciate the fact that you said you will go to low-income areas. So is the issue age, or is it that some people are digitally marginalized? Is the problem the ease? So again, the other thing is, where are you locating your problem? Is it senior citizens who are digitally, who lack the skills, or is it the e-citizen or e-health and e-government systems that are not inclusive? They are not, they don't recognize diversity. How are you defining the problem? Are you locating the problem in the senior citizens, or are you opening up the opportunity to say, maybe it's the system that needs to recognize and treat different groups differently? So things of that nature. So literature can help you, because when you start to read how other people are looking at issues of senior citizens, how are they defining? Are they going uncritically with the UN definition? Are they, so then it opens you up and you begin to have, because all of these are very interesting topics, but you could really open them up if you read. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you, Prof. I know you're going to check in, and let me just add why what you said is important. When I was doing my master's, I had only understood that the idea of a child is defined as anyone below 18, until I met a literature source that said there are 4 ways of defining childhood, and that childhood is socially constructed. And I was like, what?
Yes.
You mean? And it challenged my idea of childhood, that it's not just 18, it's just one way of understanding childhood. And even when I went to do my own research in the informal settlement, I asked them, who is a child? They said, anyone still living with their parents, even if you're 30, you are socially described as a child in this community. And my mind was blown away. So I think that openness to even question what you're reading all the time will really help you. That's the beauty of research. You start experiencing, for me, that was the beauty, that I was getting challenged, assumption after assumption. What I thought I knew, oh my God, you mean childhood is not just 18. So I think that was one that stayed with me. And I think that's what Prof is pushing us to do. Even if we say something, it's not what is always written is always right. Always what is written is from a particular perspective. And we are open to challenge it, to even compare with our own context. Does it really make sense? Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Okay, so I think we'll finish here. We will never finish, but now we are finishing. Thank you for registering. I'll get in touch with those who've registered. Please, it's only PhD only for now, but we will have the other conversations here, so you will not be missing out if you're doing your master's. Thank you so much, Prof. I wish you safe journey. I think we can give some emojis to our Prof. Now that we are digitally literate. Let's see, are young people digitally literate? According to, let's see if people can locate their emoji. You might be thinking, okay, old people. Let's see, can I see emojis? Do people know where emojis are on Zoom? So thank you, Prof. Really, really.
Thank you all.
For coming, for showing so much love to African researchers as we are growing. Thank you. I could not be here if you were not there, if you are not who you are. So thank you.
Well, thank you all,
Edie.
and thank you everyone, and I look forward to further conversations. I'm going to leave now.
Okay, Sawa. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks also,
Bye.
Winnie, for joining us, and we will be together. Bye-bye, and be blessed. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh my goodness.
Merry Christmas. Yes.
Yes. Have fun with your loved ones. We'll see you next year, but we'll share a card in the club. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you all.
Thank you very much, Aurelia, and everyone.